Our true essence is spirit. We are spiritual beings who came from the pure heavens, our true home, and are now on our journey back. To accelerate our spiritual progress, many of us are given the unique brief opportunity to incarnate to planet Earth, which the mystics call a schooling planet for souls. But as we all know, it is a tough school, not for the faint-hearted. So here we are, a soul still in the spiritual realm. To enter the Earth school, we have to put on a physical body, which we can compare to a school uniform. They come in many different colors, shades and styles. Like in any school or college, our stay here will be very fleeting and limited to an average of less than 30,000 days. This explains why nobody stays here on Earth forever, because it is a school. And if we make a mess out of our life here and don't want to learn, we may have to come back and repeat our attendance, which is called reincarnation, the being born again into the flesh. It is as simple as that. We are here to spiritually grow so that we can eventually return to our true home, the absolute reality. Not knowing this or denying it can cause confusion, loneliness or hopelessness, despair or depression. When we have forgotten who we are and why we are here, we suffer. Any form of growing usually means a certain degree of discomfort. We either learn through insight or through pain. Comfort and growth don't go together. And we are totally aware of this fact as souls before we incarnate. Before our birth, we are actually shown the difficulties or challenges that we will be facing in our future life by our spirit guides in our life's plan. Furthermore, we full-heartedly agree to them. So what are these adversities, these challenges? There are firstly environments and situations to help us grow and develop a certain desirable quality, like love, kindness, compassion, patience, and so on. For instance, if we wish to become more loving, we may consciously choose to incarnate into a very unloving family so that we can develop our love muscle, so to speak, in an opposing, challenging environment. But then there are also other challenges or roadblocks that can make our school years very difficult indeed. What are these challenges? They are nothing but our own self-made karmic burdens that have not yet been resolved and are now coming back to us. Like everything else, these are energy vibrations that we have caused by thinking, speaking, and acting against the law of love. They are temporarily stored in the repository stars and planets of same vibrations, and which will be coming back to us as karma in our new life here on Earth. All these blows of fate, illnesses, accidents, losses, and other hurdles are karma. That is what some people call fate or destiny, but we must not forget that we are the sole originator and creators of them, not any god or other powers. We are facing our own creations from our past, which are now coming back to teach us love. Other possible challenges that we may encounter are all the new mess that we may be creating in our new life. For instance, medical science tells us that about 95% of all illnesses are caused by an unhealthy lifestyle. That shows us that we are the originator of our challenges, but never the victim of them. We all have been given a free will with which we decide if, how and when we will overcome and clear up these obstacles and become a master. That is our choice and our growth process. Do we become bitter or better? The main reason why we are here on Earth is to clear up our mess with our free will and become totally free again from anything that is not love. But here's the big problem, which is at the core of our suffering. Every time we incarnate onto Earth, we are completely forgetting who we truly are, that magnificent, eternal, spiritual, angelic being. We also forget our close connection with our Creator and the reason and purpose of our earthly life. Why this is so, I explain in my video Why We Don't Remember Past Lives. This is from where all our suffering comes from. This forgetfulness unfortunately causes us to falsely identify with our physical body, our school uniform, instead with the soul that we are. And our ego also identifies with our body and is therefore dreadfully afraid of death. The fear of death causes an existential suffering in many of us. Our ego doesn't know that death is nothing but graduation from our earth school term. Our ego wants comfort and fears death, and its favorite defense is our intellect. It uses the intellect to exaggerate anything that could somehow threaten our comfort zones in our life. It judges, condemns, schemes, cheats, and lies. All our worries, anxieties, fears, self-pity are artificial constructs of our intellect, our egoic mind, totally blown out of proportions and therefore are highly dangerous to our health and well-being. Here is an example. For many, the fear of a dentist visit is far bigger than the actual pain we might encounter there. This distortion applies to almost everything. In life, physical pain and challenges are unavoidable, but suffering is always optional. All suffering comes from our ego's distorted interpretation of the situation or pain. It goes something like this. Whatever we think determines how we feel. Happy thoughts, happy feelings. Bad thoughts, bad feelings. Our egoic mind continuously interprets the life around and in us. No wonder our emotions go up and down all the time. So when some big challenges happen in our life, like a loss or an accident, then our ego goes into hyperdrive and fills our brain with an avalanche of thoughts of fear, despair, guilt, worry, and anything else to keep us unhappy, because that is the tool of our ego to manipulate us. That is our suffering. It's all in the brain, a confused mind. Confusion is the only suffering, Byron Katie would say. But underneath it all, there is the foundation of everything. That is intelligence, which is the opposite to our ego's intellect. See my video on this. Intelligence is always at peace. It always knows why we go through this challenge and that absolutely everything that is happening happens for us and not to us in this earth school. And there's nothing to fear, ever. Everything is here to help us and assist us in our walk home, including this challenge, this obstacle. Therefore, Eckhart Tolle has this powerful advice for us. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you have chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. This will miraculously transform your whole life. What we resist persists. And as we have seen before, we actually have chosen and agreed to it prior our birth. So why fight it now? So the first step could be to work with our challenge instead of fighting it. Much of our suffering is merely resistance to accepting what is. In exploring our suffering, we come face to face with ourselves. Where have we violated others, ourselves, our spiritual principles? There are no accidents. It helps to fully understand the law of cause and effect, or sowing and reaping. For many, this is very hard to accept. Taking full responsibility could therefore be the second step. By taking full responsibility, we clear up what we know we did or said by regretting it from our heart, asking for forgiveness, making amends, and no longer doing these mistakes against others, ourselves, or even against our own body or mind. To explore the source, Christ gave us the following guidance in his book, The Great Cosmic Teaching. If you are suffering, then feel in the suffering why you are suffering. Let the sensation and thoughts of the suffering come, for they speak their language. Within each one of us is the Christ spark, the transforming power of all negative energy into positive love energy. You may want to watch my video on the Christ spark. Let me summarize. Our harmful challenge, experience, or situation can cause, in some cases, physical pain, but it never causes suffering. Suffering only comes from our mental interpretation and judgment of the situation, or the fear, the guilt, the worry, the shame, and so on. Furthermore, the painful experience is usually in the past, and it is over and done with, unless we keep it alive by thinking and thinking about it constantly. It is only our confused mind that gives us the suffering, nothing else.